Have you ever wondered why so much scientific writing is just incredibly hard to read? You know, we always blame the complex ideas, but what if the real problem is something else entirely? Well, today, we're going to dig into the science behind clear writing and show you how to master it. You've been there, right? Staring at a dense research paper, and your eyes just glaze over. It feels completely impenetrable. And most of us, we just chalk it up to, well, the concepts are complicated, or the jargon's too specialized. But what if that's not the whole story?
Okay, just look at this sentence. I mean, it is a 42-word beast, absolutely packed with technical terms from molecular biology. It feels like a total chore to get through. You probably have to read it, 2 or 3 times, just to even begin to figure out what it's trying to say.
But let's try a little experiment here. If we strip out all that technical jargon, just replace it with simple placeholders, the passage is still a confusing mess. You're left scratching your head thinking, wait, how do these sentences even connect? Is the third one contradicting the second one? The problem, you see, runs way deeper than just the vocabulary. And this right here, this reveals the crucial insight from our source material today. The difficulty isn't just in what is being said, it's in how it's all organized. The very structure of the writing is the thing getting in the way of our understanding.
All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to break this all down. First, we'll talk a bit more about why science can be tough to read. Then, we'll uncover this secret of reader expectations. From there, we'll build up from the ground floor, crafting the perfect sentence, then a strong paragraph, then looking at the big picture structure. And finally, we'll see how better writing actually leads to better thinking.
Okay, let's jump into the core concept. This is really the key to the whole thing, reader expectations. It's a simple but seriously powerful idea. Where you put information matters just as much as the information itself. So, in plain English, this just means your audience has these subconscious, totally fixed expectations about where they're going to find certain kinds of information. When you mess with those expectations, you force their brain to work overtime just to figure out the layout, leaving way less mental energy for the actual content you're trying to share. For example, just look at this data. All the information is there, but it's a jumbled mess, isn't it? You have to hunt around to find a pattern, and your brain is working hard just to organize it. It feels chaotic because it completely defies our natural expectation of order. But now look at this. It's the exact same data, but it's like night and day. It's instantly understandable. Why? Well, because the structure meets our expectations. The familiar context, time, is on the left, and the new information we're looking for, the temperature, is on the right. Simple. When the structure is clear, the meaning is too. So how do we take this idea and actually apply it to our writing? Let's zoom way in and talk about crafting the perfect sentence. A few simple rules here can make all the difference in the world. Okay, rule number 1, keep your subject and verb together. Readers expect to see a subject and then pretty quickly its verb. In that original monster sentence, the subject, the smallest of the UARFs, is separated from its verb, has been identified, by a whopping 23 words. That long interruption forces the reader to hold the subject in their head while they wade through all these details, just waiting for the action. It's exhausting. Next up, and this one is absolutely crucial, every sentence has 2 hotspots. The beginning is the topic position. This is where readers expect to find context, a link to what came before. Old news, basically. The end is the stress position. This is where they expect to find the new, the important, the stuff you really want to emphasize. So, bees disperse pollen is a story about bees. But pollen is dispersed by bees is a story about pollen. The structure tells us exactly what to focus on. I love this way of thinking about it. You give the reader the familiar context first. That's the broccoli. And then you reward them with the new, exciting information, the strawberry shortcake. Like the quote says, you just don't serve dessert first. It's completely disorienting. And finally, a classic for a reason. Use the active voice. It's almost always more direct, and it clearly tells you who is doing what. Staff hours are calculated by the manager is fine, but the manager calculates staff hours is just stronger, clearer, and more concise. Now, what's really cool is that these principles don't just stop at the sentence level, they scale up beautifully. A strong, clear paragraph is really just a series of well-structured sentences, all working together to make a single point. A fantastic way to think about this is the paragraph sandwich. It's simple. You start with the topic sentence that clearly states your main point.
That's your top bun. Then you add the filling, all your supporting details, your evidence, your analysis, and finally, you wrap it all up with a concluding sentence that echoes that main point. You get this perfect, self-contained, easy-to-digest unit of thought. When paragraphs break these rules, they get really confusing fast. In this example about earthquakes, the topic position of each sentence keeps introducing brand new information instead of linking back to what we just learned. The focus is constantly shifting, and because there's no familiar ground to stand on, the reader just gets lost.
Okay, so let's zoom all the way out. These same ideas of structure and expectation don't just apply to sentences and paragraphs. They form the very architecture of an entire scientific paper. I mean, think about it. There's a reason research papers follow this standard format. It's designed specifically to meet our expectations as readers. We expect to get the context first in the introduction, then the process, then the findings, and finally, the interpretation. If you jumble those sections up, the reader gets totally confused because you've violated that established structure. And the backbone holding this whole thing together? It's a strong, clear thesis statement or central argument. It needs to show up early, usually right in the introduction, to give the reader a roadmap. It sets the stage and frames everything that's about to come. So why does all of this matter so much? Well, this isn't just about being nice to your audience. Focusing on clear structure is actually one of the most powerful tools you have for improving your own scientific work. When you make a conscious effort to apply these principles, keeping subjects and verbs together, putting old info at the beginning and new info at the end, using active verbs, you force yourself to clarify the logical connections inside your own research. As Gopen and Swan put it so powerfully, the very act of structuring your writing so that someone else can understand it forces you to confront the gaps in your own arguments. It helps you see where the connections are weak and where your logic needs to be sharpened. Better writing leads directly to better, clearer scientific thinking. It's a real game changer. So the next time you sit down to write, here's the question you've got to ask yourself. Are you just dumping data and facts onto the page? Or are you building a clear, logical structure that actually helps you communicate your ideas? Because at the end of the day, the goal of science isn't just to have ideas, it's to share them.